Hi everyone, so today we're going to discuss where Kamala Harris's campaign failed. So as you probably already know, Kamala Harris has indeed dropped out of the presidential race. And so I'm going to go over four main ideas that I see as to why she lost. So firstly, she did not have a clear message. Secondly, she could not sustain her first debate performance. Thirdly, her healthcare position was very confusing. And fourthly, she had minimal appeal to African American voters. So, for the no message, firstly, we're going to go over these three different messages that she portrays in these campaign ads. So this first one is her opening video, and she's talking about truth, justice, and freedom. So let's open this one. Let's make sure our volume is up. Okay, here we go. This is about 1 minute long. Whoops. Let's see. There we go. Okay.
Truth, justice, decency, equality, freedom, democracy. These aren't just words. They're the values we as Americans cherish, and they're all on the line now. The future of our country depends on you and millions of others lifting our voices to fight for our American values. That's why I'm running for President of the United States. I'm running to lift those voices, to bring our voices together. So please join me in Oakland on Sunday, January 27th, and go to KamalaHarris.org to join our campaign. Let's do this together. Let's claim our future for ourselves, for our children, and for our country. I'll see you in Oakland.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. So, yes, quite interesting message she's portraying, all of these different words, and then she's saying, it's not just words, and, we need to work together. Not much policy in it, but, it is an open video, so, okay, this is the next one, and this is her 3 a.m. agenda, so, she's talking about the issues that keep Americans up at night. A very, very different message. Let's play this one. This is about 1 minute.
She'd work all day, then pour her whole heart into Maya and me when she got home. And then after we were fed and in bed, our mother would sit up trying to figure out how to make it all work. That's something most Americans know all too well. And that's what my 3 a.m. agenda is all about. A real plan to help you solve those worries. The biggest middle-class tax cut in a generation. Another $500 in your pocket every month. Paid for by repealing Donald Trump's tax breaks for the top 1% and the richest corporations in America. Healthcare for all, with Medicare for all. And for companies that don't pay women the same as men, new fines on their profits until they do. That's what I'm fighting for. Real relief for families like yours. Not in 20 years, not in 30. Starting my first day as president. Because you've waited long enough to get a good night's sleep. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve.
Okay, so that was the next one. So that's, talking about, there is some decent policy, middle-class tax cut. It's a bit strange for her to be, talking about that. But anyway, that was the next one. This is the last one we'll be looking at. And as you can see, three very different messages. The first one was about truth, justice, and, her time as a prosecutor. The second one about, more policy-oriented, the 3 a.m. agenda. Now she's going to talk about what really differentiates herself with Donald Trump. Take a look.
Sick of this? Well, think about this. He's a world leader in temper tantrums. She never loses her cool. She prosecuted sex predators. He is one.
Grab him by the...
She shut down for-profit colleges that swindled Americans. He was a for-profit college.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Literally. He's owned by the big banks. She's the attorney general who beat the biggest banks in America and forced them to pay homeowners $18 billion. He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump. So if that's what you're looking for in your next president, There's really only one, Kamala.
Okay, so that's the final one. Okay, and then, so just going back to this one. No message. She did not have a defined message, and so many of the other candidates, they have a defined message. For example, Bernie Sanders has centered a lot of his campaign on healthcare. He has always been for Medicare for all, never equivocated, and on a lot of the other issues, he's clearly staked out his leftist lane in the Democratic Party. Right, Joe Biden as well, clear message. Obviously he says, we want to go back to normal, etc., etc. There's a clear message. With Kamala Harris, I'm just not getting that sense. With Pete Buttigieg, it's with Pete Buttigieg's message, it is about, having some generational change and more, innovative policy ideas. But second thing, that exchange with Biden, we can just play it again if people forgot.
I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America?
So we get the idea of that exchange, right? Moving on. Moving on. So she could not sustain. So here, this is the Real Clear Politics polling. So here, this is right after the debate. So this is where she was. She was about 7%. Look at this spike. Boom. She just goes up very, very quickly, all the way up to about 15% into a three-way tie with Warren and Sanders. And then she just sort of is like this, right? But then, after that, a few days, she's like this, and then slump, and then slump again, and then just into this sort of, then she sort of stabilizes around here, and then ever since then, it was just downhill, as you can see in this polling graph, right, downhill. There's a little blip here, but it's really not much. So she could never figure out how to sustain that debate, and she did not have any other debates that did a similar thing. And this is very much the same as Elizabeth Warren, right? So this is Elizabeth Warren's climb after she was able to capitalize it. She broke away from Bernie Sanders, and into Joe Biden. Boom, boom, boom. This was all in the space of a few weeks, whereas Kamala Harris just sort of slumped after that. Okay, third reason, healthcare. This is probably the most important issue for the Democratic voters, and she did not have a clear message. So let's go through each of her different messages on healthcare. The first thing was in the CNN town hall. She said, I support eliminating the private health insurance companies, or she said something along the lines of get rid of them or something. And then the next day she walks back, she says private health insurance can play a role. Then in the first debate she raised her hand when she was asked if she was eliminate private health insurance. Then the next day she walks back, she said she misheard the question to say she would eliminate her private insurance company. Definitely don't buy that. Number 5, she introduces her own plan, and it's called Medicare for All. But then the next day, she clarifies that her own plan that shares the name with the plan that Bernie is sponsoring in the Senate that eliminates private health insurance companies. She's called it's the same, and she says it keeps the private health insurance companies, and it's very confusing. And to this day, I do not know where she stands on the issue of healthcare. So it's very, very confusing. Fourthly, African American support. this was the campaign's strategy in the beginning. She would hold on in Iowa and New Hampshire. She would get in the top 3 or the top 4 in both states. She could do a top 2 finish in Nevada, but then blow everyone out of the water in South Carolina, and then win those Super Tuesday Southern states and be on the road to the nomination. But she did not catch on in South Carolina with African American support. So those I see, as the 4 big reasons why Kamala's campaign failed. Thank you for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.